Okay, I'm with Mr. Bob Nation, and Bob tells me he was a kid here in Cupertino at one time. And what was it like growing up here, and what are your earliest recollections of the building?
Well, this was just a small farming community, like out in the valley, out in the Grass Valley and towards Jackson and Livermore. Just like this, Stevens Creek was just a two-lane road, so was Highway 9, which is Sunnyvale, Saratoga Road, and Anza Blvd. Cali's used to have nothing but all orchards around here. They owned a lot of property, and they owned all the trucks that were in and out of here, taking the fruits to and from the canneries, and a lot of other things for the farmers around here. They had forklifts, they had tankers, and they had quite a bit of other equipment.
Was this the
here.
only business in the community at the time?
Not too much for hauling. They were the main big business for hauling with the trucks. But there was a lot of other feed outfits here in Sunnyvale in those days. They had riders down there in Sunnyvale on Evelyn, and they had one in Mountain View, and they had another riders in Saratoga. But this was the main place to come for pet feed and what have you.
Okay, can you describe what the area looked like when you were a kid?
Well, it was mainly all orchards, just two-lane roads. Hardly any stoplights, no sidewalks. The only place you're going to see that now is, like I say, way out in Jackson and on the other side of the Livermore Valley. And this was the ideal spot to grow fruit from. I talked to a lot of the orchardists when I was a kid, and one of them I talked to 10 years ago before he died, and he bought property out in Patterson, and he says he can't grow the fruit out there as good as here because of the climate. Out there it gets hot too quick, and the fruit gets ripe too quick, kind of the humidity, and the clay drinks all the water, so there's no, whereas out here the water would stay permanently in the ground, and the trees were able to drink it up as much as they want all year round.
Again, Bob, if you could just tell me a little bit of why they call this area the Valley of Heart's Delight?
Well, because of all the blossoms, and this was just beautiful during the springtime. I've always heard people talk to me when I drove a cab that they'd come down here just to look at all the blossoms in the spring times, and it was beautiful. Growing up here in the orchards, I really miss it. It was a lot of hard work for me in the summer. I loved working out here, but it was hard work, but it was fun. It was really fun.
Well, I understand you're a Sunnyvale resident now. What brings you to Cupertino?
Well, just to see old memories. I've always been in Sunnyvale, but we lived up here in Cupertino for about a year and a half before moving back.
And what brings you to this particular location today?
Well, I read in the paper that they were going to knock the final phase down, and I wanted to get back where the old spray booth was, but I didn't think they would knock it down this soon.
What is it about the spray booth in particular?
Yeah, well, my dad and I used to paint the trucks back there and argue with the bosses back there a lot, so we had our fun.
What was it like working in the mill?
I didn't exactly work. I never worked in the mill. I was afraid to go in there because you hear all the noise and all the dust, and I got bronchitis, so I was afraid to go in there. But a lot of the employees used to tell me you got to be strong to work in there because you lift all the bags and all that. And they said you ought to be happy where you're at.
Do you think a mill like this could survive in today's times?
It could have. If they still had the orchards around here and the canneries, this would still be in full swing. Things would be still in full swing like it was in the 50s.
How many years did you work here?
Off and on for about 2 or 3 years, because when the wintertime comes, there wasn't hardly any work because they'd lay off all the trucks and until springtime. They'd always wait until springtime to try to catch up.
Okay, just as a last question, I'm not sure if you know what's going on with this property after everything's demolished, but they're going to extend kind of the look of that. This is going to all become what's known as City Center. They're going to build a hotel here. Do you have any comments to make about the progress of time?
I wish we would go back to the old days, because it was, as I said, there was a small farming community, and it was so beautiful to live in. Now it's another Los Angeles. It's hectic, and it's even after all these years of seeing everything change, I still get confused on where things are.